So this year at Codemash, they did something called the Mobile Smackdown, in which they got the iOS, the Android, and Windows Phone 7 in the same room, and they were all given 15 minutes to develop an app. That application was a Twitter stalker app that allowed you to add and remove names, at which you could then see the Twitter statuses of those people. And so I thought it would be fun to do this in Flex Mobile and make an Android app using Flex Mobile to show how that would be done as well. So I'm going to try to do this in less than 15 minutes. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start up a new Flex Mobile project. I'm going to call it Twitter Stalker. I've done this once already, so I'm going to call it 2. And for Android only. And now the very first thing I want to do is I want to talk about the data store. So I'm going to create a new class. I'm just going to handle all of the data in this class. And in Flex, I would use a shared object for that persistent store. So I will create that. Okay. And we'll just call it Tweeter Store 123. Just give that a name. And if it doesn't have data in it already, I want to give it some default data. I'll put my name in here and Codemash to just get it started. And this data store is going to have to get the names, add, and remove. So I'll add those methods right now. Store.data.names, and then we'll do, so we want that to be public, and we'll do the same in here. We'll say public, and we'll do the add, and remove looks the same. And that handles all the persistent store for this application. So let's go to the very first view, and let's give it a name of Twitter Stalker. And I want to just show that data. So we'll create a list and make it stretch. And set the data context to be Tweeter Store .names. Okay, let's see what that looks like. We're going to run this app, and we're going to tell it to simulate a Motorola Droid. Okay, sure enough, we've got our items. Okay, so when we click on that item, we want to show the Twitter user. So we're going to create a new view, and we'll call it Tweeter. We're going to pass the name of the tweeter along. That will automatically become data. So we're going to do some data binding to the name of the tweeter right there. And we're going to use a web view for this. And to do that, we'll just create a private variable for that. This is the stage web view, which is different than most Flex components in that you have to tell it the stage and where to live. So it will draw. This is the probably the only real odd thing about this application. I'm going to give it a place to live. Call it web view. And so because we need to tell it where to draw, I'm going to do that when the view gets activated. So on view activate, I'm going to tell the browser to use the stage of the web view. And I need to translate the points to global points because this is really just where on the screen do you want to draw this browser. And so I will do that translation right here. Turn it into local. And I will tell the browser to go into this new rectangle. And it will be at global.x, global.y, and then the width and height of that stage. Okay, so that is told that browser where to paint on the screen, and then finally we'll tell it to go somewhere. And that will be to Twitter. And then the opposite of this, I need to unload it from the screen when we deactivate the view. And we'll do that here. Sorry. Yep. Just null out the stage. Okay. Now the last thing we need to do is when we click on one of the items in the list on the main page, we need to tell it to move on to the new view. So I'm going to name this list. And on change, I will say, I'll tell the navigator dot push the tweeter with the actual name. Item. Okay. So if all went right, I should be able to bring this app up and go see my name. Got it. The only thing I got wrong was the, content to global, sorry. Not local, because I lost my bar when I did that. Let's see again what happened. Because I got my points wrong, I lost this up here and it painted the entire screen. Okay, so now all I have to do is add and remove these items. Let's create a new page for adding. Call it Add Tweeter. And on that page, we're going to put, what's my time?
8 minutes.
8 minutes? Cool. So I'm going to tell it add a tweeter. Actually, we'll call this the tweeter name. And the title will be add a tweeter. And below that, a text input. And then put a button in there to make it happen. And then add a click handler. When we click, we want to go to the tweeter store. Add tweeter name text, And when we're done, we want to pop back off the stack on the view. Okay. And the last thing I want to do to this view is I just want to take up the full screen. And I'm going to give it a little top margin to make it look good. So then let's go back to the home screen, and we want to add a button to the top. So that's the action bar content. We'll just use the plus sign for that. And so click will mean tell the navigator to push that view on the stack. Push view of add tweeter. Okay, let's test that. Say add. We will add Mike Wollmer. And we've been added to the list. Last thing we need to do is delete. So when we click on somebody's status, we want to have a little minus bar up here so we can remove them. So let's go to that tweeter view and do the same thing. We will add action bar content. Oops, I don't need an ID, you just need a label. And click handler will remove it from the data store. And pop the stack. And that's it. Assuming everything's working here. Oh, got a problem. What is my problem? Oh, data is an object and it's taking a string. So I need to cast that as a string. Cool. So now we can decide we don't actually want to listen to Mike Wollmer. I can remove him, and he's been removed from my list. So there we have it. What's my time?
12 minutes.
12 minutes. Okay. Proof that you can build this application pretty easily with 12 minutes and narration in front of a crowd.
Yay.